Good evening, TZR faithful, and welcome to the next episode of Zero Interruptions, a show where we debate and you, the viewers, get to decide who is most right. Speaking of that, let's jump right in and see how last week's contestants did. Chow with the GameCube controller got 2 votes, Liz with the DualShock 4 got 1 vote, and Shane with the mouse and keyboard got 8 votes. So Shane gets 3 points, Chow gets 1 point, and Liz gets nothing. Thanks to all who voted, and remember, if you want to vote for the winner on this video, then just leave a comment down below. With all that said, let's look at this week's contestants. StarFox64 or GTFO, it's Mike Potts. He hates talking in the third person, it's Dave Ortuso. Seriously, I've never heard of half of the games he plays, it's Frank Nosich. Okay, so the contestants are in and the audience is in. So, gentlemen, my question to you is this. What is the best video game weapon?
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 60 rounds or only 59? And given that this is an MA5B assault rifle, the most powerful assault rifle in all of gaming, that would take your head clean off, you gotta ask yourself one simple question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you? Punk? Nah, I'm just kidding. Who needs guns when you can have Pokemon? Now, I can already hear you in the comments. Pokemon aren't weapons. Yeah, they are. Let's think about this. They are literally sentient weapons that obey your every command. Organized crime groups in the Pokemon universe use illegally trafficked Pokemon to intimidate and disappear their rivals. There's entire bands of Pokemon criminals that use Pokemon to take over towns and cities. And I know, we always see Pokemon attack things until they faint. Well, I feel like faint is more of a nice, gamey term for horribly murdered. Just ask Gary's Raticate. These are tiny and sometimes massive monsters that you use to attack enemies with, the definition of a weapon in a video game, that can fire literal razors out of their body, shoot flames from their mouths, freeze things solid, and have massive claws and teeth used for what exactly, if not to horrendously maim and kill your enemies. And it's even supported by the canon of Pokemon. Well, sort of. Think about that war that Lieutenant Surge fought in. The Pokemon War, you know, the one that wiped out all of the adult males in the Pokemon universe. What do you think, his Raichu was carrying around an M16 in the jungles of Vietnam? I don't think so. Pokemon are being used as literal weapons within their own canon. Now, some people would have you believe that things like tanks are a better choice for best weapon in all of gaming, even if they have legs. And I just want you to consider this. What do you think would happen to a bipedal tank if it was hit with a hyper beam? And dragons, I mean, yeah, 1 dragon is great, but I could be packing 6 right now. Dragon Rage, am I right? So yes, Pokemon are not only weapons within their own canon, but in the definition of what a weapon is in a video game, but they are in fact the best weapon in all of video games.
Potts, Pokemon aren't weapons.
Oh, you have a problem with my choice, Dave? Perhaps you'd like to take it up with Totodile!
Alright, you know what? This was supposed to be about weapons that you hold in your hand, like, you know, the Lancer from Gears of War or the BFG from Doom, but Potts has gone and decided that these little ankle biters with attitude get to be weapons too. But you know what? I'll jump in on that, and I'll say that if you're going to pick a living, breathing creature as your weapon, then you probably is not the best idea to put all your faith in creatures that are incapable of any real harm.
Oh, God, my fucking knee!
No. I'm going with the coolest, most badass creature to ever roam the land. A creature who strikes fear into the heart of anyone who's foolish enough to cross it. Until getting the endgame weapon, I guess. I'm talking about the Blood Dragon. The Blood Dragon is a giant lizard monster in Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Right from the get-go, you get a sense of how intimidating these things are, as they're seen just casually slaughtering a bunch of grunts that you just spent a whole mission fighting. The game even tells you to avoid fighting them and makes you sneak around them at this point, and for good reason. Blood dragons are neither friend or foe. They're just death. Let's say your attempt at taking over a base isn't going well. Just shut down the energy shield, throw out a heart of a previously slain enemy, and watch the Blood Dragon annihilate everything that moves by ripping and tearing everything and everyone apart. Oh yeah, and they can also shoot things with laser eyes. On top of that, and spoilers for Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, but you've had like 5 years, so deal with it. You get to ride one with super awesome metal battle armor and blast the shit out of everything. The Blood Dragon is by far the superior weapon to a group of creatures whose mascot is a rodent that causes minor pain with non-lethal electricity.
Pikachu! Ow!
No, the Blood Dragon is a far superior foe, ally, and weapon, and would eat your little pet Pokemon without a second thought.
Pokemon? Really? You think that a glorified dogfighting ring makes for the coolest video game weapon of all time? Little animals stuffed into tiny little balls that can't even kill one another? They just slap each other around until they pass out? At least the Blood Dragon is a force of nature that can decimate anything in its path. But the Blood Dragon just has one teensy little problem associated with it. And coincidentally, it's also the same problem that your precious little Pokemon also has. You see, those are both living organisms. You two are putting way too much stock into biological weapons, weapons that lack a certain straightforward conventionality. No, gentlemen, flesh and blood simply will not cut it when it comes to winning war, proper war. And there is only one weapon in the video game world that is guaranteed to pave the way for supreme and total domination. My friends, when it comes to the coolest video game, only one weapon makes the final cut. One weapon to end all weapons. Metal Gear. Now, I'm talking about Metal Gear Rex specifically. I know Metal Gear Ray was technically designed to be able to hunt down and counteract Metal Gear Rex, but let me ask you this. When the two of them went head-to-head in Metal Gear Solid 4, who do you think came out the victor? We're talking about a giant bipedal tank that can launch a stealth nuclear warhead anywhere across the globe. Let me repeat that. A stealth nuclear warhead. It makes the Blood Dragon's turret look like a Pez dispenser. On top of that, it comes with its own bag of straightforward goodies. I'm talking about compound armor that is near impenetrable. I'm talking about a ray gun, anti-tank missiles, rotary cannons, and a goddamn laser. This machine was so powerful that former Spetsnaz GRU commander Sergei Gorlukovich was confident that it would be able to bring Russia back to the world stage as a military power. And he's not wrong. Poor little Pikachu's quick attack doesn't mean a whole lot when you got first strike capability on your side. Metal Gear Rex is the pinnacle of military engineering. So much so that it follows the same basic design as the prototype documents that were delivered to the CIA in the early 1960s. You don't mess with perfection after all. In fact, the only changes that were ever made to it were ones that kept its arsenal up to date in a world of constantly changing military technology. How do you think it remains such a consistently viable weapon? And really, do I have to point out that Metal Gear is one of, if not the, most iconic weapons in all of gaming? It's integral to the very foundation of one of the most popular video game franchises of all time. It is the substance that which that entire saga is built on, and substance for one of the most compelling dramas in gaming. If my persistence in pointing out how awesome Metal Gear Rex is getting tiring, then let me wrap up my closing argument with this. Metal Gear Rex is a goddamn mech, and mechs are cool as
Well, that wasn't what it was supposed to be. Alrighty, TZR Faithful, you have heard the points, and now it's time to decide. Do you agree with Potts and Pokemon, Dave and the Blood Dragon, or Frank with the Metal Gear? Please leave a comment in the section below to cast your vote for the winner, which will be announced on the next episode, which will be 2 weeks from now on December 22nd. Until then, thank you for watching, and please subscribe to see more Zero Interruptions.